Hi everybody, my name is Pranav Shastri. I'm here to share with you today my experience with TTP and by extension, the GMAT. Let me start by sharing my background with you. I'm a CFA charter holder by qualification. I started my career with KPMG Deal Advisory as a valuations analyst and then moved to a private equity firm in the Middle East. That's a bit about me. Coming to my experience with TTP, the first time I heard of TTP was when a friend of mine availed the services of TTP and scored very highly on the GMAT. I remember him scoring north of 750 on the 10th edition of the GMAT. When I was about to start my preparation, I wanted to do some due diligence of my own, go on the internet and just check out who the providers were. And that's when I realized that one of the hardest parts of your GMAT journey starts even before you begin preparing for the GMAT, and that is to pick a prep provider. And I say that because there are just so many options and there's so much noise on the internet regarding who's good and who's not, and there's just so much marketing that it just gets really hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. But I was very clear as to what I was looking for. It had obviously been quite some time since I solved high school math problems, and the foundations weren't great either. So I was looking for a provider who would not assume that I knew everything, and that I wanted to start from scratch. I wanted somebody to help me with my absolute foundations. And irrespective of all the noise on the internet, one thing that came out to me very clearly was that everybody was in agreement that TTP was the sole provider who helped you develop your foundations from scratch. And that was something that was very important to me. And of course, I did speak to my other friends as well who'd availed the services and scored very highly on the GMAT. And I think then it became very clear to me that TTP is the way to go. So that was regarding how I decided to go with TTP. Coming to my journey with TTP, I took their diagnostic test, and it was definitely very reflective of reality. And I had chosen the 685 plus package, which is basically the choice you get to make at the beginning of the course. And from then on, I think what I simply did was follow the study plan to the T. I think it's an extremely detailed, extremely articulate, and very clear study plan. It's very doable. In fact, for example, if one of the tasks in the study plan says it takes 2 hours to do, it more often than not takes only 90 minutes. So it is not at all unrealistic. And I had a very hectic job. Some parts of my GMAT prep were when I was at KPMG, and I also had a job transition in the middle when I moved to my new job. But despite all of that, I felt like sticking to the study plan was not at all difficult, very, very doable. And that is what I would suggest to every single person who takes TTP. Take the study plan very seriously. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the software. If you have not been able to do something, mark it as not done. Do not cheat the software, because at the end of the day, the software is your friend, right? It's only trying to help you to reach a better place. So yeah. The number one tip would be to stick to the study plan and to just follow it to the T. Secondly, I've seen or I've heard people who find certain chapters to be easier, so they just skip over the chapters. But look, here's the thing. The GMAT has its own weird way of testing you with questions even from the chapters you're most comfortable with. So you do not want to be skipping anything. So I would say leave your ego aside, be humble, and practice every single chapter. Practice every single example problem. Practice every single end of chapter test as well. All of those are really important. I think if you're aiming for a score north of 685 or 695, these little things become very important, because I think when you're aiming for a high score, you're already aware of all the concepts and all the tricks and whatnot. I think it comes down to discipline and not letting even the smallest of stones remain unturned. So discipline is very, very important. Do not skip over anything. That would be point number 2. Point number 3 is that people usually spend a lot of time on one of the sections, meaning quant, verbal, or DI, and they end up ignoring the other 2, or they end up ignoring one, which is usually DI nowadays, right? Because quant and verbal was always part of the exam. DI has been newly introduced, but the next step would be to pay equal attention to all 3 sections, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, they are equally weighted on the exam. So it becomes really important that you're really thorough with all the 3 sections, and that's what TTP does a great job at. You will find that every single section is very, very thorough, has every concept very well covered, And once again, I think you will definitely be in a good position if you just follow the study plan to the T. So that was my experience with TTP when I was studying for the first time. And revisions are really important as well. And that's where TTP has the new AI feature where it can summarize every page and every chapter. You can even choose between a short summary and a detailed summary. Something that really helped me because when you're revising, you're obviously pressed for time. Application deadlines are coming about, and you want to be quick, right? But the AI summaries really helped. They really hastened my space of revision, and I was able to basically just shorten my window of preparation. So, really would recommend you checking out the AI feature. And another thing which I think sets TTP apart is that they have an entire chapter. I think it has 120 pages within it, and that's entirely dedicated to your mental game. And that is so important because you can study every single concept and you can be aware of every single formula or trick out there. But if you're not in the right mental space for those 2.5 hours, that will not help you. If you're not in the right mental space, you will not achieve your best. So I absolutely love the fact that TTP has an entire chapter dedicated to best practices, not just during the exam, but even before and after the exam. And that is one chapter I would highly recommend everyone to go through. I think it is needed that you be in your A game that day mentally. Because this is as much a test of your mentality as it is about your memory and your knowledge of concepts and whatnot. So yeah, I think this was my journey regarding TTP, both studying and revising and preparing mentally as well. I would recommend all of you to check out the software, do your own diligence like I did on the internet, and be very clear as to what you're looking for. And to reiterate, I think what really helped me was that I started from foundations. If you look at the first chapter in Quant, TTP literally teaches you how to add fractions all over again. Someone may feel like that's absolutely not needed, but I think it is really important because even there may be certain shortcuts or there can be certain time-saving tricks which you were not aware of earlier. So do not ignore the little things. And TTP obviously provides a free trial. Definitely check it out. I think that just helps you become more aware of the interface as well. And yeah, now that I've mentioned the interface, it's a very, very easy to use interface. Nothing is very hard. You spend 15 to 20 minutes on the platform and you will know how to go about the entire software. They also have very useful features in notes and bookmarks, so you don't need to maintain any physical notes as well. I actually did not maintain any physical notes at all for Quant. TTP was my sole source of preparation. I did maintain some very minor notes for verbal, but once again, that was just to synthesize everything that was already there on the software. And once again, no notes for DI at all. So look, TTP is really the all-in-one stop for everything GMAT, if you ask me. I think it just comes down to how efficiently and effectively you use the platform and the software. I recommend all of you to go check out TTP, and I wish each and every one of you the best of luck for your GMAT journey.